So Nicole and I wanted to kind of key out of that and talk about that clear cooperation policy and how our implementation in our marketplace is going to work, because MLSs across the country are in the process of solving how it's going to best work in each individual market based on the technology involved, based on their existing rules and processes. So, we just wanted to get this in front of you. You're kind of like our first big group of this. You'll see me out and about the next 2 months. Nicole's going to say goodbye to me today, and I'm going to go out for the next 2 months and talk about the implementation of this policy. So I'll see you all at division meetings. But we just kind of wanted to break it down and show you not only what the policy is, but how it's going to work.
So I think that I'm going to start with this, that everybody's doing the same thing across the country, is that they're all coming together with the help of people like Renee and trying to figure out how to implement and enforce the policy that has been given to us, right? So how we approach this here at MIBOR and in our marketplace was we really were set and determined to try to do the least amount of disruption, to change as few things as possible while still being in compliance with this rule, because after all, we are a Realtor-owned BLC, and so for that reason, we have to follow NAR because that is how we exist, because we're Realtor-owned. So we approached it and we said, there's a lot of different models, right? There are people that are creating statuses for coming soon. There are people that are creating private listing networks. There are, all across the country, there are different ways. But we determined that what's best for our members is to use our current set of rules and try to make this fit within them. And so that is our way forward with this policy. So not a lot is changing. If you are a listing agent that takes traditional listings, we're calling them, that you take a listing, you get the exclusive right to sell contract signed, it has an effective date, and within 2 full business days, which is our rule now, 2 full business days, you submit it to the service, to the BLC, nothing has changed for you. Keep doing what you're doing. 2 full business days. You still have 2 full business days. I cannot say it enough. You have 2 full business days, just as you do today, even after this. So that's this first one. Nothing new here. If you did, with your plan between you and your seller, determine for whatever reason, and we've heard them all, new carpet, grandma's coming, we have to rip out the kitchen, I don't know what else. There's so many reasons why sellers determine that they're not ready to go to market, to go live, to send it out to the world. They're not ready to show it. If for whatever reason your seller needs some time, the middle column, and you need to hold it, right? Well, we don't want you to be unprotected during that time. Because if you don't sign an exclusive right to sell contract, you are not protected. Somebody, and I've heard stories right here in our marketplace, where people then swoop in and they're, oh, I sold it to my neighbor or my kid's yoga instructor. I don't know. I mean, it happens. People are like, I've lost money. I'm like, secure the listing contract. You need to secure the listing contract to protect yourself. So if your seller needs time after you have a fully executed exclusive right to sell or exclusive agency agreement, you have 2 options right now for the people that just need time. They're not the celebrity, they're not an FBI agent, they're just a regular old person that eventually is going to share it with the world. You can, A, go ahead within 2 full business days and turn it active, and there is a setting that is no showings until. This rule exists right now. It is in our BLC rules. And for 7 days, you can hold that. And the listing can sit there as active and there's no showings for up to 7 days. Those are your current rules. They exist today. And then on the 7th day or any time before, you can turn it active and showings begin. Dan?
Are those settings on all the different property types? Or just
Yes.
six? Thank you.
Yes, this applies to all property types here in our marketplace, by the way. So that's option 1, if you have a seller that needs time. Option number 2 is B, temporarily off market. That is a status that exists in our BLC today. It always has. It may not be being used for this purpose at this time. It may be being used for after you've gone active and you need to temporarily remove it from the market. But it's there now, and you can hold a property for 30 days as a temporarily off-market property. And it can sit there for 30 days, up to 30 days. So, and the beauty of both of those solutions, because nobody can go inside, and that means you too, listing agents cannot show these properties. If he can't show them, then you can't show it, right? It's either available to be shown or it's not available to be shown. Dan?
What's the BLC system do on day 31?
It turns it to withdrawn automatically, and that will sit there. And it can sit there until the end of the listing. Or you could take it back to temporarily off market again, or within those 30 days, because likely the carpet has been installed or the grandparents are gone or whatever the case, and you will have turned it active for real between that 30 days. But if not, yes.
So where it normally says active pending sold, it's going to say
There's,
TOM?
it's already
It's
there.
already there.
Yeah, it's always been there.
What's always been there?
TOM. Temporarily off market is
That's what
the
I'm saying, is
status.
Yes.
That is, so it's not going to be pull up unless you search for it.
You're gonna need to
Correct.
search for them if you wanna know about these houses that are, the seller needs time. We're not calling it coming soon, we're not calling it anything. It's just the seller's desire to not
Allow showings. just
allow
yet.
showings right now. Yeah, back there?
So if, I understand A and B slightly, but if you want to go the route of B, temporarily off market, but you want to activate the listing so they see it online, do you make it active and do temporarily?
To be clear,
Yeah.
when you're temporarily off market or active, no showings until, it does not go out. It doesn't go anywhere because you have not yet gone to market. It is just being submitted to the service so that the professionals that you've agreed to cooperate with are aware of it.
So you don't bring the listing active and then right away switch it to temporarily off market?
That's what I was getting at.
It will. We're building the system out so that if you put a listing in and the showing date is more than 7 days, it's going to give you a validation error. And it's going to say, this cannot go active because it's more than 7 days, and that's not within our rules, and that you must submit as temporarily off market.
That's the way the system currently works. If you are filling in your listing and there's, it's on the contract page at the very bottom, it says available to show, yes or no. If you mark that as no, you can submit the listing into the system, but it does not include that listing in the external feed. It shows up within the BLC, but it does not send it out to the world
No
until
syndication.
available to showing is set to yes.
So
That's the
somebody-
way it currently works.
You're saying at that point, if an agent B, somebody else in the BLC, has a matrix portal set up for somebody, they're not seeing my listing?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. It doesn't go anywhere. We don't send it anywhere.
It's visible just
It's
within the
again a
BLC.
validation error. It's gonna have public internet, I think it's called, show, view public.
Available to show.
No, the other one, the
So-
public viewable field, what's it called here? The internet?
Oh, public internet.
Public internet
But
must be set to
But to
no.
follow on the heels of what she asked my question, I was actually thinking of. I can't make it temporarily off market and then active. I make it active then temporarily off market, so it's gonna days on market.
Immediately.
Okay.
And days on market, that's the beauty of this whole thing, both of these two options. Days on market, whenever you do actually go live and you set the showing date to today and you say active now, go, it starts at 1. That's why, that's the beauty of it. So now let me just finish real quick and then we'll go back to questions because we're almost, just about done going through this. So this office exclusive, the last column here, this is for what Renee described. When you have whatever, for whatever reason, that your seller wishes you to keep the listing within your brokerage. And maybe you can have a brokerage, like you can do a caravan if that's still a thing. You can share it with your clients, with those people that you have an actual, relationship with at this time, that you're actively seeking a property for. And so can your brokerage. But the way we used to counsel members when they called, if they said, well, I need to hold it off, we'd say, just sign an exemption, and then you're not in violation of our rules. That is no longer our answer. The exempt form that we all know and have been kind of using for all things is going to be no longer. There's no more exempt form. There's an office exclusive disclosure certification that is for your office. This is when we get into the 1 business day. If for whatever reason your clients decide to do an office exclusive, because that is their desire, they want you to keep it within the walls of your brokerage. The moment that you put a sign in the yard, or you post it to Facebook, or they post it to Facebook, or whatever form of public marketing happens, at that moment you have 1 day, 1 business day to submit it to the service. You have to put it in the BLC now, because you've jumped the fence over into the public arena now. It's left the arms of your brokerage.
So correct, if I don't do it, but my client does it,
Same thing.
well, let me ask this, because sometimes your clients do things that you don't know about.
Yeah.
They do?
Yeah.
They'll put signs in their own yards.
Well, but especially the Facebook thing, right?
Yeah.
So if that happens, my mind just kind of thought, well, if they didn't tell me, and I'm thinking that we're doing this, and they didn't tell me.
If somebody else tells me
Yeah.
about said post,
Yeah.
I'm going to send you a notice
Yeah.
that says you have 1 day
1
to
day.
submit that listing
So
to
we
the
do get it, we
service.
do get-
You get a day.
Oh, I can
It's
do
not
that.
an immediate
Okay,
ding. It's
awesome.
just you have 1 day now.
Yeah.
And now they don't have,
Yes.
And now you know.
yeah.
Yes.
Now you know your
Well,
client did
that's
that.
nice to know that.
But that post on Facebook by your client would indicate that they don't have a privacy concern
Right,
at that
exactly.
point.
I have a
Maybe they
question
did, but
here.
now they don't.
Yeah, so I would give you
could
that.
have answered it.
You all right?
Go ahead.
Okay.
Well, I was gonna ask, I thought that's what she was.
I didn't know.
You should
In
need to
that-
get
In that middle section, seller needs prep time, so they have it temporarily off the market. They get to have their sign out there, they get to Facebook plaster it, they get to market it, they get to do whatever they wanna do, but agents can't show it.
Correct.
And the listing agent can't show it either.
Nobody can show
So
it.
it's still the
It's
exempt
the
form
exact,
coming soon.
it's the same thing that happens
So you
now
can do
with the
that for
exempt.
30 days.
The difference is now, everybody here in this room knows about it. Before, you all had to call me and say, hey, I see a sign on Smith Street. Is that been exempted? And you had to call me, and I had to look it up on our little tool behind the scenes. Now, you know about it, so you are now again the source. And you can say, yes, buyer, that house is in a temporarily off market, and I will reach out to the listing agent right now and make sure that I know when it's gonna go live, go active, Everybody is doing this amp up marketing. It's just the reality. It's a market-driven problem. All of this is a market-driven problem. I was here in the days when we had 17,000 listings in our marketplace here. I wasn't here, but I was around, right? We wouldn't be here if we had 17,000 listings, but we don't, so.
Well, from what I've heard, what everybody keeps saying is, well, it's in the seller's best interest. But my question is, we own this system. It's our system. We make the rules. And if the rules are, you have a listing, you put it in there, it's available to show. I don't think you need the middle section. If that house isn't ready to list, then you don't get the listing.
But there,
If you need to take it off the listing and do it in this way where you can't advertise it, you're not getting an advantage to go get a whole lineup of buyers so that when we're ready, I've got them all lined up because I've been marketing it for 60 days
I don't
while it's
disagree
temporarily
with
off
you.
the market.
I don't think anybody disagrees with you that believes in the cooperative. right? That's what we're all about. That is why we call ourselves a BLC, is because we believe in the cooperation that you all have together, right? I mean, you're in a unique industry, and the fact that you get together and sell houses of one another, because everybody else doesn't have that.
Well, and the thing is, we have, the majority of the realtors play by the rules, but you're going to still have people bending the rules to try to take advantage of the system.
I had somebody call me, I'll give you an example, that she has 6 houses that want to go on the market in March, because it's spring, here we go. Here we go, we're gonna list houses now, it's getting nice out. And what is she supposed to do? Say, I'll talk to you in March? Or she can't do that right now, because she's going, somebody could then, they could sell it, and then she doesn't get compensated. I had a realtor in my BLC committee that shared that he had spent all of this time and money in professional photography and helped them stage it and spent hours of his time, and they used all of his resources to get their property ready. And a week before his listing agreement went effective, they sold it with the beautification that he had created. He lost $30,000. That's why A
Well, I
and
get
B
that.
are needed.
So that middle section sounds great, but if it's not ready to list, I mean, they want to get their listing contract signed, but they want to play that game, no marketing permitted. If it's not ready to be shown, you shouldn't be able to market it.
I understand.
It's that simple.
I think that, and I don't know if Renee wants to speak to it, but I think that the important thing is that there's a very, what do I want to say? There's a place for the BLC and the cooperative, and it's not for me to get in between you and your seller. I think that there is a time and a place where that is maybe what's best for a seller. People talk about it like prep time. They literally are doing it because that is what's in the best interest of their seller, because I want to percolate this listing. I want everybody in here to be waiting to get into that thing so I can get the highest and best price. I mean, there's both sides of it. I don't disagree with you. I've been doing this in BLC dance for 25 years. I highly believe in the cooperation. Everybody here does, or you wouldn't be in this room. We've all agreed to cooperate. But this is the best way forward it's just the way we're going to do it for now. I'm not saying it's gonna be like this forever. It could change. We could be like, this is not working, let's look at this. But it's living within our own rules. All of these things right now today are possible. Right now today, you can take a listing, be under contract with it, and do both A and B.
Right.
Today, right now.
Right.
And you have been for years able to do so. So that's not changed.
So how do you date the contract?
You always date the contract, the date that it's effective. And
Even though it's temporarily off the market?
yeah, because it's just off the market. You still have an effective listing contract.
And you said when it goes temporarily off the market, it doesn't blast it out
So it's
to the
correct.
public?
Yeah, and it's all triggered off that available to show field. And again, this is how it works today. If you say available to show is no, that's the name of the field, available to show is no, then you can submit the listing into the system, but it doesn't include it in the feed. It restricts it from the data feed that goes out to the IVF sites and the syndication sites. So it's going to stop that pass-through if it's not available to show. So it can be viewed by the cooperative, it can be viewed by other agents, looking in the system, if you go look for it.
Yeah.
But it's not blasted, so we're not going to syndicate it or send
We
it
have
out.
one over here and then,
Yeah.
I have two short questions. The first, what would the status be of a property like Renee's example of the federal judge for privacy purposes?
it's the office
But
exclusive.
it wouldn't be, could other cooperating brokers be able to show? Is there a status for that? It would be private, but within the.
You can still do that. Right now, you can put a listing in as confidential.
Okay.
Our listings our current rules have that on as well,
Okay.
right?
Yeah, and you also, along with that available to show, there's an option for public internet and all of those syndication sites. So you can always turn those off as well. If you say, I want the cooperative to know, but I don't want it going anywhere else, even if it's active and available to show and it's sort of a traditional listing, but I don't want it published by MIBOR to the internet. You have those options, again, already exist in there, you can restrict it from the feed. And if you're, yeah, we were supposed to send it to you. But, you know, and if you have questions and you're like, this is the situation, I need somebody to walk through this with me because it's not my normal, we will do that. We don't want any of those, you know, accidents to happen.
And then how many days can a property stay on that status?
In the
Forever.
Okay.
office exclusive.
Office exclusive is
Through
for
the-
the
through the
life
term of the
of the
listing
As long
listing.
as there's been no public marketing of it, okay.
Mine was just a comment to Bob.
Then he left them.
But basically it was, what you've done is something I now agree with. As far as number two, especially, is just that you're basically getting things on the record, whereas before, we might have had a listing contract that we were just held within our office until the carpet went in or whatever. And you're just basically making it so that we're trying to get
We're
a
trying to
standard.
clean up the process
Right.
and the
And I
cooperation.
think that's a good thing.
And the other danger is the scenario that we hear all the time of, I predated or post-dated a contract to begin in a month because I wanted to sign. So I've finagled those dates a little bit, got the, you know, recommended contractors, and the contractors have been in and out of there. And this is the scenario we heard the other day was, you know, someone driving by saw contractors going in and out of the property, doing the final staging
Right.
for it to go up, knocked on the door and said, hey, we are interested in looking at your house, any chance we can come in? And they make an offer, and their contract had not yet begun, so there's
No, it cleans
a
it up.
period of risk that you open yourself up to, and I try to be careful not to play lawyer, because I'm not an attorney. It's on record, I'm not an attorney, but there is a level of risk there that you open yourself up to that I would personally be uncomfortable with.
So we have to wrap because we're 15 minutes late now, and we don't want to get out of time. And we brought amazing people here to talk about two other solutions. This is April 14th is when we are going to roll the policy. It will be live in the system. We will not begin real enforcement, and you'll hear when we will, but it's June. So we're going to have some education time. Angie's gonna, like, literally, it's her full-time job to visit every single office possible between now and then. I'll go on a speaking circuit if I need to. But it is the way that we're going to proceed for right now.
What are you referring to? I'm sorry.
This whole policy,
Oh.
the whole thing,
Okay.
what we call clear cooperation
Okay.
policy. Other people call it MLS 8.0. And so, but we don't call it that, it is in our rules, it's been adopted by the MSC Board of Directors and the Policy Committee blessed it. So it's in place, it's effective middle of April, and like compliance and actual enforcement of it will begin in June. All right, I'm gonna break there, we're around, I have to leave for I have to drive, I'm late actually now. I've overbooked myself for some reason. That never happens. But I'm around. My name's Nicole Jensen. You guys know Angie Baker, and we will be here. We're going to, on Friday, this policy will go out in the Industry Insider. I believe it's slated to go out, and then on Monday it'll be shared. We've put together a whole toolkit. Everybody they kill me because I love the toolkits, but it's a place where everything's gonna be like the office exclusive form will be there. I created a grid so that you guys can see each one of them and it answers each question, so it's like very clear. There's a video of Shelley Specchio explaining different stories and how use cases. There's all sorts of good stuff, a QA, so it's going to be hard to not know about this by the time April 15th rolls